Hey guys, it's Lion here with Hobbies Man once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga review. It took me a while longer than I thought it would, but I'm finally getting around to reviewing Crazy Food Truck Volumes 1, 2, and 3, which completes the series. So it's going to be a review for the whole series, and I think I did do a first impressions review for it before, so you'll get those two videos, and that's probably the last time I talk about this story, because even though I liked it, and actually I quite liked it a lot, more so than I thought, even though it's not the best story ever, It's one of those like action blockbuster movies that you watch once, you enjoy it while you watched it, and then you can kind of forget about for the rest of your life. However, it's probably going to come up if I ever do videos about food manga, because even though this isn't really like a food manga in the usual sense, food plays a really important part in it, and I think it's something to highlight. And also, it's a pretty accessible series with only 3 volumes, right? So yeah, it's written by Rokuro Ogaki. It's published by Viz Media, as you guys can see right there. It's under their signature line. However, nothing about this is signature because there's no color pages. There's nothing special about it. It's only just the prestige size, which honestly, I don't think is worth it. So, yeah, the demographic is seinen, and the genres here are adventure, food, comedy, and post-apocalyptic. This is more or less a Mad Maxian-esque type world, but it's not as crazy. It's more like The 100, where they there's like fallout, and then things evolved differently because of the situations that occurred, and then there's these people trying to thrive off the new things that are around. So it's pretty cool like that. And it does not have an adaptation, but this could be turned into an anime movie. And I think it has enough stuff there to make it an interesting anime movie, but not one that would have to be a series, like an anime series, like multiple episodes. I think this could be a one and done movie, and you could finish it there, and that's all you really need to adapt this. And I would really like to see that, actually. I think it'd be cool. Ratings wise, it's a 4 out of 5. I liked it a lot. It's not necessarily one of my top manga ever. It's probably never going to get into like even the top 50, but it's one that I enjoyed quite a bit while reading, and one that I may revisit, in a few years. But for now, it's just going to be a very interesting piece in my collection where everything is like white and black, and then there's just going to be bright, highlighter yellow in the middle of all of that. And I think that looks really, really good. So yeah, the premise here is that there's this guy called Gordon, and we learn eventually that he was a military man, and he runs a food truck in this post-apocalyptic world. He kind of drives around looking for ingredients, and then trying to find people who he can sell stuff to. And so while he's driving around, he finds a woman in a sleeping bag in the middle of the road, and it turns out that this woman is Arisa. And so she happens to be some sort of like genetically modified human type of person, and they become friends, and they travel together until death does them part, basically. And so it's a very, very cute story. It does eventually turn into a romance, and you kind of feel that it was going to go there from the beginning, but it also feels a little bit like, oh, they just added this for more depth. And it works out. I quite liked it. So yeah, the plot line here is basically Gordon driving. He finds Arisa on the road. He takes her in. He helps her out. He feeds her. And because she falls in love with his food, he kind of likes having her around. And so this eventually develops into them eating together, them getting closer, them traveling to get stuff to make. And while they're traveling, they end up actually running into this organization called VALD. And VALD is basically the closest thing to a government organization that exists in this post-apocalyptic world. And they're basically a military that is trying to maintain order. The way they do that is a bit suspect, and we learn that Gordon used to be part of them, and that he retired / faked his death. And, he has bonded to Arisa, so he's not going to let her go. And so he gets to be at odds with Vald and the people that he knew at Vald. And so basically Gordon and Arisa are now on the run. Eventually, they end up having more adventures, and they actually end up in a location where Arisa is taken and turned into a hostage. And now Gordon has to gather a team of friends in order to go and fight this person so that he can get Arisa back. They manage to do this, and then they end up teaming up with Vald, And they get her back, and Gordon and Arissa are back on the run. Eventually, shit happens. Val gets upset, and so they send in a special strike force. And, well, that spells the end for our characters. There's a final battle, and then there's a really cute ending where Arissa and Gordon are gone, but their legacy lives on, and people that we met throughout the story take their legacy on their shoulders and move on and try to live how they would have lived. And I think it's really, really good. I quite like it. Like I said, it gives me a little bit of Mad Max, a little bit of Logan, a little bit of Wall-E. It has a lot of these kind of like post-apocalyptic kind of vibes to it, but unlike Mad Max, where it's mostly like, oh, this is really cool, it feels more like vaguely hopeful, I guess. And so it feels a little bit more like Wall-E in that sense. So overall, very, very good stuff there. In terms of characters, we have Arissa, Gordon, Kyle, Tanaka. Kyle is Gordon's old subordinate, and Tanaka is Kyle's subordinate. And then we have Mina, who is Arissa's sister, Dylan, who is an old guy that used to work with Gordon, and this woman called Sarah, who is the leader of the organization, or the branch of the organization, Vald, that take care of Arissa and Mina because they are, you know, experimental humans, essentially. World building wise, Post-Apocalyptic has new versions of old animals. So there's these chickens that are like land sharks, and then there's these pigs that turned into this camel-like creature, and then there's, you know, snails that live in on cactus and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. A lot of world building elements went into that, and I quite like it. There's you know, these different organizations. There's Vald, and then Zeno, and then Tokawa. And Tokawa is kind of like a little kingdom, I guess, that carved its location out of, you know, the difficulties here. And there's a bunch of ruined cities, but we don't ever get names for them, or we do, but they don't really matter because it's not like they go there again. And it's really, really fun. I quite like the world building in that aspect because the new versions of animals leads into recipes, which then leads into, you know, Gordon explaining how to make things, and I quite like that. I find that really enjoyable. In terms of artwork, it's good. It has good action, actually a lot of good action, and there's also a lot of boobies. So if you're not a fan of boobies, you know, don't read this. Ratings-wise, 4 out of 5, basically a movie, and I quite enjoyed it for that reason. However, like I said, it's not the best thing ever. It is a 4 out of 5 because that basically means I enjoyed it. But it's not something that I'm gonna reread over and over and over again. It's something that I'm gonna read every couple of years, and I'm gonna remember, hey, when I read it the first time, I like this aspect of it, but now I'm reading it and I like this aspect of it, and you know, it's gonna be something like that. So yeah, very good stuff there. I quite liked it, and I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know what you guys think about the Crazy Food Truck if you've read it, and if you haven't, let me know what you think about it now that you've heard the review for it. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.